Sound heart monitor beeping, muffled breathing, dirt falling. Emma Webb's fingers scraped against rough wood in absolute darkness. Her head throbbed. The air was thick, suffocating. She tried to scream, but her throat was too dry. Where was she? The last thing she remembered was sipping chamomile tea with Marcus by the campfire, his smile gentle in the firelight. Then nothing. Now this. A box. Underground. Buried alive. 48 hours underground. The Apple Watch that solved a murder. In October 2023, Marcus Webb became the most hated man in America, but 48 hours earlier, he was considered a hero. This is the story of a marriage built on lies, a plan that almost worked, and the technology that exposed everything. Marcus and Emma Webb were Connecticut's golden couple. He was a tech entrepreneur turned philanthropist. She was a former nurse who dedicated her life to charity work. Together, they ran the Webb Foundation, helping underprivileged youth across New England. Their social media showed a perfect life. Charity galas, exotic vacations, anniversary posts that made their followers swoon. Marcus would comment on Emma's photos with heart emojis and "lucky to call you mine." Emma would respond, "forever and always." But forever was about to end. Emma's best friend, Jennifer Matthews, later told investigators something that haunted her. About 2 months before it happened, Emma called me crying. She said Marcus was acting strange, taking calls in other rooms, password protecting his phone. When she asked about their finances, he got defensive. He told her everything was fine, that she was being paranoid. Emma said she felt crazy for even questioning him. Emma wasn't crazy. She was right. On Friday, October 13th, Marcus suggested a camping trip to their rural property, 50 acres of wooded land they'd bought 3 years earlier as an investment. Emma hesitated. Things had been tense between them. Marcus insisted. "Come on, Em," he said, loading sleeping bags into his Range Rover. "Remember when we used to do this? Just you and me, no phones, no distractions. We need this." Emma relented. She packed her bags, grabbed her favorite hoodie, and made sure her Apple Watch was fully charged. She never went anywhere without it, a habit from her nursing days when she tracked her steps during 12-hour shifts. They arrived at the property around 6 p.m. Marcus was unusually attentive, almost too attentive. He set up the tent, started a fire, cooked her favorite meal, herb-crusted salmon with roasted vegetables. They ate in relative silence, the crackle of fire filling the awkward gaps in conversation. "I'm sorry," Marcus finally said, staring into the flames. "I know I've been distant. Work has been stressful, but I love you, Emma. I need you to know that." Emma wanted to believe him. She reached across and squeezed his hand. "I love you too." At 8:30, Marcus made chamomile tea, Emma's nightly ritual. He handed her the mug with a smile. "To reconnection," he said, raising his own cup. Emma drank deeply. Within 20 minutes, her eyelids grew heavy. The last thing she saw was Marcus's face hovering above her, his expression unreadable. Then darkness. When Emma woke up in that wooden box, she didn't know how long she'd been unconscious. Minutes? Hours? Days? Panic seized her chest. She pounded against the walls, splinters digging into her palms. Above her head, she felt something plastic, a pipe maybe, letting in minimal air. Someone had built this. Someone had planned this. Marcus had planned this. The realization hit her like ice water. Her husband, the man she'd loved for 12 years, had drugged her, buried her alive, and left her to die. Meanwhile, on Saturday morning at 6:23 a.m., Marcus Webb called 911. His voice was frantic, breaking with sobs. "Please, you have to help me. My wife, Emma, she's missing. We were camping on our property, and she went for a morning walk around 5:30. She never came back. I've been searching for an hour. Please, send someone." The dispatcher tried to calm him. "Sir, what's your location?" Marcus provided the coordinates. Within 30 minutes, police arrived. Detective Sarah Chen, a 15-year veteran with the Connecticut State Police, took point on the case. Something about Marcus's demeanor bothered her immediately. He was crying, yes, but his hands were steady. His eyes were dry. "Mr. Webb," she said, notebook in hand. "Walk me through last night." "We had dinner by the fire," Marcus said, his voice trembling. "Emma was tired, so we went to bed early, around 9. When I woke up, she was gone. I thought maybe she couldn't sleep and went for a walk. She does that sometimes when she's anxious." "Was she anxious about something?" Marcus hesitated. "We've had some stress, financial stuff, but nothing serious. Nothing that would make her just disappear." Detective Chen made a note. Financial stress. Red flag number 1. By noon, the property was swarming with search and rescue teams. Canine units combed the woods. Helicopters circled overhead. Volunteers from nearby towns arrived with flashlights and thermoses of coffee. Local news stations set up cameras. Marcus stood in front of the microphones, tears streaming down his face. Emma, if you're watching this, please come home. I love you. We'll work through whatever's bothering you. Just please, let us know you're safe. The performance was flawless. Social media erupted with support. Hashtags trended. Pray for Emma, find Emma Webb, bring Emma home. Marcus's phone buzzed constantly with messages of encouragement. But underground, Emma was dying. She'd been buried for over 24 hours. Her lips were cracked, her tongue swollen. She'd stopped screaming hours ago, conserving what little energy she had left. She pressed buttons on her Apple Watch, but there was no signal underground. The watch face mocked her with its cheerful display. Saturday, October 14th, 7:32 p.m. She thought about her sister, Rachel, about Jennifer, about all the people who loved her and had no idea where she was. She thought about Marcus, and rage gave her strength. If she died here, he would win. He would collect the insurance money, play the grieving widower, and move on with his life. Emma refused to let that happen. She remembered something from her nursing days. Apple Watches had an emergency SOS feature that sent distress signals even when there was minimal connectivity. She pressed and held the side button, activating the feature. The watch vibrated. 1 bar of signal. Then nothing. But maybe, just maybe, it had sent something. It had. On Sunday afternoon at 2:17 p.m., a tech analyst monitoring Emma's digital footprint noticed an anomaly. Emma's Apple Watch had pinged a cell tower briefly, sending an emergency SOS with GPS coordinates. The location made the analyst's blood run cold. The Webb property, 200 yards from the campsite. Detective Chen's phone rang. When she heard the news, she didn't waste time with protocol. Get SWAT on site now. Ground-penetrating radar. Digging equipment. Move. Marcus was sitting in his Range Rover when police vehicles surrounded him. Detective Chen approached his window, her expression granite. Mr. Webb, we need you to step out of the vehicle. What's going on? Did you find Emma? We're conducting a search of a specific area. I need you to stay here and not interfere. Marcus's face paled. What area? Let me help. Sir, stay in your vehicle. The SWAT team moved through the woods with precision. Ground-penetrating radar detected an anomaly 6 feet below the surface, approximately 30 feet from a large oak tree. The team began digging. 4 feet down, they hit PVC pipe. Someone shouted, "We've got an air supply!" They dug faster. At 6 feet, they found plywood. Crowbars pried it open, and there she was. Emma Webb, barely conscious, dehydrated, hypothermic, but alive. A paramedic jumped into the hole, checking her vitals. She's breathing. Pulse is weak but steady. We need a medical evac now. As they lifted Emma out of the ground, her eyes fluttered open. Detective Chen leaned close. Emma, can you hear me? You're safe now. Can you tell me who did this? Emma's voice was barely a whisper, but the words were clear. Marcus. My husband. Marcus buried me. At 4:53 p.m., Marcus Webb was arrested for attempted murder. As officers handcuffed him, his facade finally crumbled. He didn't cry. He didn't protest. He just stared at the ground, defeated. You have the right to remain silent, the officer began. Marcus laughed, a hollow, bitter sound. It was supposed to be perfect. The investigation that followed revealed the depth of Marcus's deception. His tech company had filed for bankruptcy 6 months earlier, something he'd hidden from Emma by forging bank statements and intercepting mail. He owed $2.3 million to offshore gambling sites. Credit card debt had ballooned to $800,000. The perfect life they'd displayed on social media was a mirage. 6 months before the camping trip, Marcus had taken out a $5 million life insurance policy on Emma. When investigators interviewed the insurance agent, she remembered the meeting clearly. Marcus came alone, she said. He told me Emma was too busy with charity work to attend. He said they wanted to make sure they were both protected. I thought it was romantic. Now I feel sick. Then there was Ashley Romano, Marcus's 26-year-old assistant. Police found hundreds of text messages between them, messages that painted a disturbing picture. Marcus had promised Ashley a new life once Emma was out of the picture. They looked at houses in the Bahamas, discussed baby names. planned a future built on his death. One text from Marcus, dated 3 weeks before the camping trip, read, "Soon, baby. Just a few more weeks and we'll have everything we need. Trust me." Ashley's response, "I can't wait to start our life together. I love you." When detectives showed Ashley the texts during interrogation, she broke down. "He told me Emma was sick, that she had early onset Alzheimer's and wanted to die. He said he was helping her. I swear, I didn't know he was going to kill her. I thought he meant they were getting divorced." The lies were astounding, but Emma had suspected something was wrong, and she'd prepared. While recovering in the hospital, Emma asked Detective Chen to access her email. There, in a folder labeled, "If Something Happens to Me," was everything. Screenshots of suspicious financial statements, photos of Marcus with Ashley taken by a private investigator Emma had hired. Receipts from hardware stores where Marcus had purchased the materials to build her tomb: plywood, PVC pipe, sealant, a portable drill. Emma had documented it all. She'd shared the folder with her sister Rachel with instructions. If Emma didn't check in every 24 hours, Rachel was to open it and contact police. "I knew Marcus was hiding something," Emma later told a court-appointed psychologist. "I didn't want to believe he would hurt me, but I couldn't ignore the signs. The late-night phone calls, the password changes, the way he flinched when I mentioned seeing a financial advisor. I thought maybe he was having an affair. I never imagined he was planning to murder me." The trial was swift. Faced with overwhelming evidence, Marcus pleaded guilty to attempted murder, kidnapping, and insurance fraud. The judge sentenced him to 25 years to life. Ashley Romano received 2 years as an accessory after the fact, though many believed she deserved more. In his final statement before sentencing, Marcus addressed Emma directly. She sat in the front row, her sister beside her, refusing to look away. "Emma," Marcus said, his voice devoid of emotion, "I'm sorry you had to go through that. I was desperate. I made terrible choices. But for what it's worth, there was a time when I loved you." Emma stood up. The courtroom fell silent. "You buried me alive, Marcus. You drugged me, put me in a box, and left me to die in the dark. You don't get to talk about love. You don't even know what that word means." She walked out without looking back. Emma spent the next year in intensive therapy, working through the trauma of her experience. She became an advocate for domestic violence awareness, speaking at conferences about the warning signs she'd ignored. She wrote a memoir titled Buried Truth that became a bestseller. All proceeds went to organizations supporting abuse survivors. Detective Sarah Chen, reflecting on the case during a podcast interview, said something that resonated with millions. "Technology saved Emma's life, yes, but it was Emma's intuition and courage that really solved this case. She knew something was wrong, and instead of dismissing her gut feeling, she documented everything. She prepared for the worst while hoping for the best. That's what saved her." The case became a cautionary tale about the masks people wear and the darkness that can hide behind a perfect smile. Marcus Webb, the philanthropist, the devoted husband, the pillar of the community, was a fraud. And Emma Webb, the woman he tried to bury, refused to stay silent. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, please reach out for help. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is available 24/7 at 1-800-799-SAFE. Trust your instincts. Document everything. And remember Emma's story. Survival is possible, even when buried in darkness. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more true crime content. Drop a comment below, telling us what warning signs you think should never be ignored in relationships. Your engagement helps this channel grow and brings important stories like Emma's to more people. Thank you for watching, and remember, the truth always finds a way to surface.